So hi, I'm Alex. He's TB, my colleague. We're here day by day we work at Lenovo, and today we're going to talk about the importance of adopting early security scans in your daily development cycles. We work at Lenovo, and nobody understands what we actually do. We do data center stuff. That's why I put the label there, and we'll explain a little bit more in a couple of slides why you have to trust us. But before that, let's jump into the story. If the title was not enough, I like Chewbacca, so we're gonna go Star Wars from now on. Any Star Wars fans? Anybody that doesn't like Star Wars? There's the door. Okay, I don't care. So, in a galaxy far away on a planet full of containers, configurations, populated by many fast-moving development teams, that's you. Where was I? The Security Product Office has declared a state of emergency. Early scans is the only hope. Yay, geeks. So, what's going on now? Now, luckily, there's an army of droids that's going to save the entire saga and this conference and actually this talk, right? I'm not going to be making a shame of myself. But before that, why should you listen to us in any way? Who are we? So, just one slide about us. So, we are building a data center management solution as a service. So, it's something in the cloud that manages data center equipment for our customers, wherever they are. We are serving different types of customers, large, big, small, tiny, you name it, empires if you want, financials, banks, governments, armies, edge, general customers. So we get a lot of requirements when it comes to security from you name it. And lately, at least me and TB and some colleagues here, that guy that does not pay any attention to me right now, which is Andre, we do interact weekly with the Lenovo Product Security Office and with the Lenovo Corporate Office. Now, probably you've heard about Lenovo. Who hasn't? I didn't. It's well known for quality and security these days. And of course, products, laptops, and all the stuff. But it happens to be also the #1 data center management equipment vendor out there in top 500, etc., etc. I'm not going to advertise Lenovo here, that's not the scope. But it's kind of important because we kind of are facing a lot of problems every single minute. So, let's go on. Why should you scan stuff? First of all, when I'm saying scans, it doesn't mean a tiny piece of code that you actually write every day, and I mean that, but I mean everything. So, code-wise, I don't know, you name it, Java, C, C++, Golang, Rust, etc. All the language you write. Bash scripting, Python scripting. Node.js scripting, whatever you use. If it is JavaScript, if it's TypeScript, does not matter. PowerShell scripting, going deeper in Terraform scripts, all the freaking things you want. JavaScript on the cloud, CSS, HTMLs, libraries, binaries, kernels. In our case, everything gets scanned. And also is protected. Why should you do that? Who here seen 0 Day on Netflix? Okay, nobody. Well, one person. Who read the news 2 weeks ago? Spain, France, no power? We don't know if that was a 0 Day problem, but we can speculate probably on some of the aspects. I mean, when a freaking country goes down, there's only one option. Either somebody pressed the button or somebody reached the button from who knows where on the planet. So, if that was not enough, let's talk about some aspects. I'm gonna use this slide to explain the theory about it a little bit. And then my colleague is gonna jump into tools and what they do and give you options if you're not paying, if you're not using them right now. And hopefully you'll find about some that are open sourced. Some are open source, but you have to pay for additional features, and some may be paid also entirely, but you'll see how it goes. So scans can help us a lot. It can help us catch vulnerabilities early. We can prevent potential exploits. So that's probably the #1 reason, right? Finding vulnerabilities and exposures in your code, in your infrastructure, in your systems, such that, well, in production, you don't work, right? You have weekends, you only work ideally 8 hours a day, right? You don't get in trouble. So that's probably the main reason why you should go and do vulnerability scanning. Being proactive on your security day-by-day basis ensures you that you can tackle threats before they actually happen. So by integrating security checks early in the process, in the development process, you can reduce risks, ensure that your code and your system and your delivery, whatever it is, it's based on solid security practices. And again, you do not work weekends. right? You do your stuff when you have to do it early, and then there's no problem. Cost reduction. Of course, if you do scans, and if you are proactive in your security, at the end, the benefit, probably not for you, ideally, but for your CEOs, is that the cost of the project will lower itself. When I started, long time ago, I started with a monolith application. Nobody was doing any scans. We were just writing code. Everybody was concerned about deadlocks and what's a thread. And then we had to release the first version, and the product security office came and said, oh, you have this list of stuff. Have you done any of it? And we were, no, who are you? And we had to spend months again and delay the project probably with 8 months to do all the things they told us to do. And that's when we learned we have to adapt stuff earlier. And it took us some years to do that, but we are proud that what TB will show you, it's something that we actually do and embrace. And we are kind of advocates for that one, even though day by day it's kind of killing us and you get sick of it, but that's important. And compliance is the next one. How many of you passed through an ISO certification? ISO, whatever, 25001, 3 people. So it's not that pleasant, right? You have to do a lot of stuff, a lot of paperwork, if you want to call it. Now it's digital, but still paperwork. So that can help you a lot, right? If you adopt it early, it's going to be allowing you to generate your papers faster, and you're going to be able to do stuff with it. Also, security scans bring together also the dependencies related items around it. SBOMs. He's going to talk a little bit about SBOMs in a couple of slides. So that's also important. The software bill of materials, for those of you that don't know what SBOM is, kind of it's a painful stuff. I think it was in the keynote, I forgot his name, the 4th guy presenting something about European Union regulations. So that's going to haunt us starting next year. Everybody should do SBOMs. I mean, you should start right now if you don't do it already. Now, enhancing the security posture. Oh, no, sorry. First of all, the improved deployment speed. So you would ask why? Why would I be able to deploy faster, right? Why can't I simply wait until the end, do a full scan, and if it's green, it's okay? Trust me, there's not such an option that is green. It's always red. Not yellow, not orange, red. Always it's red. So if you shift your security to the left, if you take care of it from the beginning when you start writing your code, you will end up actually improving the deployment speed. In our case, we've done an experiment. We had 2 projects, an old one and a new one. The old one we never actually cared, and the new one we really care, and we see how fast we can actually deliver. We've actually made agile work, if you believe it or not. Not always, but it helps. Enhancing security posture is not about you going to the gym and doing any yoga. That's about how others see you as developers, see your company in the market. Lenovo is seen as a big security advocate, so there's trust that is there. Customers trust it for whatever they do. So doing all those principles and the ones that follow is going to help you in that aspect. Reducing remediation costs. How many of you had a CVE above 8 in production? Only 1? Okay, 2, 3. We had, right? We are lucky we actually fixed it in how many hours? 4 hours? 6 hours? Oh no, yeah, there were 2, yeah. One was in minutes, another one was in hours. Anyway, it was super fast. And that basically saves time on the DevOps side, right? If you are having a good posture, if you do all the stuff I've mentioned and the other things that I'm going to mention in the next clicks, that's going to help you save money. And when you hit a problem, you don't have to spend a lot of money on pills, right? On people, on overhours, on weekend hours to go and fix your situation. False positive identification, it's a big thing. Yesterday I've been talking to, where is he? Adrian there, not paying attention. I'm joking. Last night we talked a little bit about how important is it to protect, we call them the eggs, right? So you start your code from different libraries. Let's call them the eggs. And those libraries, guess what? Depend on other libraries and on other libraries and other libraries. So protecting your eggs in a safe space and make sure you are not exposed to what we're presenting in the keynotes and other sessions that happened before us is really important. Plus, even though you say, well, I did that code intentionally, trust the tools. Even though for you it seems okay to do it like that, try to trust the tool and balance the false positives and the actual threats, and think about the future, never about the present. Think about what happens if you've already been hacked. Can that piece of code affect you more? And what should you do in order for you to become efficient in your security process? Dependency management, again, back to the eggs. It happens so often, it happens so many times, it continues to happen, that we pull stuff from pip for Python or npm for Node.js or whatever else, right? Maven and etc., whatever you use from the internet. And there's something that might be corrupted, something that somebody already managed to hack it, somebody that probably from the beginning had a zero-day vulnerable code. And you have to manage those dependencies very, very well. And if we go a little bit back to one slide or two slides when I mentioned S-pumps, this can also help you. And then, by doing all those things, you can actually manage the risks. You could actually take decisions because we all have bosses, we all have to make a profit, everybody wants something to be delivered yesterday, and by doing this, you actually understand the risks to which you can put your company to, and you can decide if you can actually deliver faster, going back to where is the productive security helping you deliver faster in your environment or not. I mentioned the ISO certifications. We're going to have European laws that's going to be starting next year. Already the committee in California is pushing similar to the European laws. So we're going to have some things we're going to have to respect. We are an open source conference here. It was mentioned already that it's kind of loose. People don't actually focus too much on security. What's interesting is that right now, I've been to 5 talks, 4 were security related. We've been to KubeCon, myself and TB 2-3 weeks ago in London. Half of the presentations were security related, so there's clearly a wave that's coming towards you. You should be aware of what's going on before it actually happens, before a product manager that has no idea what he's supposed to do is going to come to you and says, you have 2 weeks to do all of those things and implement all the tools that TB is going to talk about. Last one, early security integrations. We are obsessed in our company with penetration testing. We automate it, we run it almost every release. We are still not finished to shift it completely to the left, such that every merge request, or at least once a week, to go and do those penetration tests early. But that's also extremely important. Now, I'll let here TB to go about headaches, scans. So.
Okay. Thanks, Alex. He mentioned a lot of problems and maybe objectives we would like to reach in our projects. Now, early scanning tools should be your early warning systems, not your daily migraine, right? So think about if your merge requests or pull requests light up like a Christmas tree and the security alerts become background noise. That's not good, right? What you want is less noise and more signal, okay? Traditionally, right there, this was the traditional place to put your scanning tools. Right before delivery time, everything is already shipped, nearly shipped basically, and if you found a critical issue back at that point, then you had 3 options. Either delay the release, of course, costs money, time, resources. You can scramble a last-minute fix, which is last-minute fix, right? Or the riskiest of all is, fix it later, right? How can we solve this? Of course, we can move it earlier, right? Shifting left. After the developer writes the code, he creates a merge request. The merge request is then approved and merged. You have the build process. You can then apply some tools there to catch early vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, secrets that are committed, and so on. Now, why stop here? We can even go even left, I don't know, more left than this. Think about developer writing code in VS Code, right? In an IDE. You can plug in, you can install a plugin right in the VS Code or another IDE to catch best code practices, like, I don't know, null pointer exceptions and so on. You can catch them even when you're writing, typing actual words, actual code. You can then put another gate at your merge request in a pipeline, right? If that tool recognizes that you have vulnerabilities, right after you open the merge request, of course, you can catch these problems earlier. It's going to cost you less money, resources, and so on. But now we're coming to discuss about tools. A developer needs the right tools at the right time, and for that, we don't need many tools. We just need a handful of them that are really smart and really, really fast. Of course, the cost is also another aspect. I will dive into the most important families of tools, of security tools. And I will begin with discussing about static application security testing, so SAST. I've listed here a couple of them. I will point out to perhaps SonarQube you might be familiar with. You can actually install the plugin I mentioned earlier. You can install your SonarQube extension in the VS Code, and you just can catch bad code even before committing it. Another family of tools here, it's called Dynamic Application Security Testing, DAST. What is the difference? So the last one, the static application security testing, all of these tools are looking at your code, right? Now this one, they don't look at your code. They actually target your running application at runtime the same way a hacker would do, an attacker would do. So basically, they probe with a stick and see if they find something weird, like, I don't know, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, bad input validation, and so on. Zap there is open source. It's, I don't know, it's maintained by OWASP, if you're familiar with. Another very popular one was NetSparker, which is now called Invicti, but it costs money. The difference between SAST and DAST, like I said, the access needed for SAST is the source code. The DAST needs a runtime environment, needs your application to be hosted somewhere, it's going to be up and running, and then it can start probing with stuff. When the SAST can be run, like I mentioned earlier, even when you're writing code, you can catch something weird with the tool. DAST needs to be up and running. Another type of tools is called software composition analysis. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I hate writing code, right? And whenever I have to do something, I'm just starting Googling it or ChatGPTing it and find out if there is already a library that does solve this problem or not. Most of us rely on third-party libraries, dependencies, open source or not, that are not written by us, and we are using it completely. We are trusting them to do whatever they need to. Now, there comes a problem with it, right? You need to be able to find out licensing issues. Nowadays, all these libraries move from open source to freemium type of, or limited. Maybe if you're working on a company, you can use a library that is open source only for personal use, but not for business or enterprise use. So these tools here help you identify licensing issues or vulnerabilities in some versions that your software uses, like libraries. The SAST tool actually needs your source code to help you identify problems, whereas the software composition analysis doesn't need your source code. You just need to find where you list your dependencies, usually a POM, if it's Maven, or package.json, if Node.js, or whatever language you're using. Another interesting family, which is pretty new, is called dependency confusion. What is this about? I'm sure you're familiar with the Trojan horse story, where you fake some kind of gift, you enter the citadel, and then people thought, this is a gift, and then voila, a lot of vulnerabilities there, malicious actors and so on. But what's the problem here? As we said, me and Alex previously, we rely very much heavily on third-party libraries. Now what happens if somebody, because let's say we're using NPM, right? Node Package Manager. We also have another package by ourselves called, I don't know, take it from internal repository, we name it something, and then an attacker would publish the same name, the same library name, but in the public repository with a malicious code. And you just bump the version up, and sometimes your build processes will go to the public repository, which has the malicious code, and take that and run it in your applications. Now, this is a huge problem, right? So these two tools help you identify this type of situation. Of course, because we're discussing a lot of Kubernetes, a lot of containers, Dockers, and so on, infrastructure as a code, there are tools that help you scan the ISC, infrastructure as code, files, YAML files, containers, and so on, and help you find vulnerabilities. Another family, I think, is the almost last one. Secret scanning. What is this about? How many times you committed API keys in the code, or secrets, passwords, you name it. It happens. It happens. Even if it's for personal projects. One of the tools here, so it's Git Guardian, this one actually creates a profile out of companies. It scans public repository, GitHub, GitLab, and so on, and scans for secrets that are committed, and if it can actually map to a corporate identity, like you're working on an enterprise company, it scans your personal projects, it finds you committed some kind of secrets there, and there is a vulnerability right with this one, because you might commit secrets that are for your companies, and you commit them in the public repositories. This type of tools help you identify, even from the commit step, if you're committing passwords, like I said, API keys, all kinds of secrets. Where do those secrets need to stay? Vaults, right? So we don't never have secrets in the source code. SBOM, which stands for Software Bill of Materials. So this is like something, let me find a metaphor. I don't know how many times you bought a cake from a local supermarket. Please don't. Look at the ingredients. It's many, many lines of code right there. So many, many ingredients. Our grandma definitely will not agree with that. SBOM is like a list of ingredients for your software. It basically lists every single thing your application has as a components. Version, name, where is that? And you can use tools like Sift and Gripe. So Sift, where is the, here. So Sift is an open source tool that can help you manage and create a SBOM file, a SBOM list of materials, and Gripe can help you scan that. These two are working together very well. Now, I've mentioned many, many, many tools here as perhaps a conclusion for these last couple of slides. You can think of, I don't know, pick some of them, maybe a few of them, to help you increase your security posture, and shifting left, right? Install them into the pipeline, make them run as often as possible, I don't know, weekly, if you suggest. I would name a couple of them. 3V, think of it like Swiss Army knife for security. It can help you on this, it's a SCA, software composition analysis tool, it's an ISC, it can help you scan ISC files, containers, it can generate SBOM files. Another very important tool is SemGrep. All of these are open source, by the way, because I've wanted to, we are a CNCF conference, yeah. SemGrep can help you on the SAST, static analysis tool. OWASP-ZAP, of course, is open source, is a DAST tool, so you can make it run somewhere and start poking with your running application. And another open source that can help you identify secrets leaked is called GitLeaks. Thanks.
Okay, so R2D2, everybody knows this piece of can, right? Aluminum can. He's the proof that the Galactic Empire had no security scans whatsoever. For 9 episodes, he was able to hack every freaking port with a screwdriver. Don't be an R2D2, right? While he's funny and everybody probably loves him, he's actually the bad guy here. And obviously, to not expose the vulnerabilities achieved using screwdrivers in the near future. Try to reduce, I don't know, events such as the power outage that just happened in some countries 2 weeks ago. I suggest you use the scans to go and actually use the force if you want. You probably used it on the 4th of May, right? When you voted. We'll see what we end up having, a Yoda or a Palpatine. Yeah, means that you have to take scans very seriously, and that should be things and make them fun and good for you. That's it. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Alexandro and Tibi. We do have a few minutes for Q&A. If there are any Q&A questions, I'll quickly run over. This is why you need to sit in front.
Sorry. So you said to use open source tools to scan for open source dependencies, but isn't that a bit of paradigm? Like you use open source tools which may be themselves vulnerable, no?
Yeah, that's true. But same can happen with paid tools, right? It's about trust, right? We usually use stuff in our development, even from the open source. You wait for it to become mature. If you follow the cycles in CNCF and right in CNCF, you go through sandboxes and incubation sandbox, and then they become product. So you kind of wait for them to grow. And if there's no alternative, you're probably gonna go and fall back on something that is paid. Now, while those tools are growing, trust is also growing at the same time. More companies are trying to go and get involved, and I mean, I admit, we have a mix. It's a mix of stuff that we have, also paid and unpaid from open source, such as, I don't know, SonarCube and what else, Coverity and all the other ones, and we're gonna add a couple more because we see them growing and we see traction on it. And you are right, even those things could actually be vulnerable, but one advice is don't use one tool.
Exactly. I want to add another point here. Most of the tools, they don't cover only one type of thing. So you might be better if because they overlap with each other. So even if one tool gives you, I don't know, 5 CVEs and another one gives 6 CVEs, but 4 of them are common, you still get one more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So basically, it's a lot of cat and mouse problem, but you might be able not to pay money for them, but it's not something I don't know. Sometimes you need to pay. That's the idea. You can start with something free and open source, but then you might think about, I don't know, also for developer experience. Usually the paid ones they are more friendly for developers. Okay.
Thank you.
One thing from everything that Tibi shown, on every slide we usually have at least one, if not 2 tools from each slide. And then the more the problem might become more serious, yeah, we do adapt something that is paid, because if they missed it, you have a lawsuit against somebody that has money. But yeah, it's gonna evolve, it's gonna grow. It's a mix. At least the paid ones, we use it, and we advise everybody to use it as much as possible when you write the code. It's gonna tell you, hey, this is not right, or you create I don't know, a new service, or you might transition. We are transitioning now. We are trying to transition from one language to another. So learning a new language at the beginning, it's going to take you 6 to 12 months until you can actually call yourselves not experts, but users of that language. So it's going to help you identify stuff. You create spawn on Express, let's say, in Node.js, and say, hey, dude, you should actually put those settings in here and disable those stuff.
Security headers or stuff. Static analysis tool like SonarCube in extension, in VS Code, it can help you. You're writing some code, right? And you can have a warning right there. Look, your method, your function is too big. The complexity score is, I mean, you've nested 3, 4 statements. That's not good, guy. Like, think about refactoring it, and it's very nice that you can catch it earlier in the process.
Yeah, it's funny that, go ahead, Ed.
Are you asking if we're publishing somewhere what we find? I'm not aware of this. Do we have?
Not really. We obviously have the CVEs that we have in our products, and obviously, like everybody else, we don't expose them until they're fixed. Unless there's something really bad and comes from an actual customer, we have a process where we call them LA fixes, limited availability fixes, or even GA fixes, general availability fixes. And since we do servers, obviously, when you have a CVE, you kind of release another fix immediately, right? So even on the server side, which is not cloud native or whatever, it's a piece of metal and it's embedded and many things can happen there. Even there, we adapt the agile stuff and let's ship it fast and we document the situations. Now, there's some politics there, how much you want to expose and at what moment. But in the end, everything gets public, right? So it's step by step.
Cool. Okay. I'm afraid we're out of time, so we'll need to go to the next room. But are you staying around? Going for drinks later?
I'll be around.
So do catch either Alexandru or Tibi. I don't know if Tibi's also going to be around to continue the discussion. Thanks again. Big round of applause.
Thank you.